Hello. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so apologies for that. I actually did a run at the beginning of August, and it's now the middle of October. But I didn't like really what came out of that run that I did a couple of months back, so I basically canned it all, and and in between then and now I got married, and so I had other bits and pieces on my plate. So that was a month ago. So hopefully now things have sort of calmed down a little bit. I can get back to doing these on a more regular basis. Anyway, this is going to be a relatively quick one, simply because there's not going to be a sound file, at least yet. I will do a sound file, but as I said, it won't be yet. Reason is because I haven't actually played the drum yet. This particular drum is the Craviotto AK 10th anniversary drum, and this turned up probably, I don't know, about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and much to my surprise actually it turned up at the house. Normally they come to the local parcel force depot, but this one actually came to the house directly, which was a bit odd. I wasn't complaining there, saved me a trip. But I got this drum. Well, I ordered this drum back in the very early days of January. I saw this. I think I was watching the MikeDolbear.com NARM review. I'm going to put it down before I drop it. And I saw a video, and the first one of those drums was on it, and immediately I emailed Steve Maxwell, as I've done several times before, and he came back to me almost straight away, probably within about 10 minutes, given that he was actually at NARM at the time. And I said, Steve, you have to get me one of these drums. And he came back and said, as luck would have it, I have one last drum, which is one of the last ones that he said was available. And I said, I have to have it. So I emailed him back. And anyone with more than half an IQ point probably would have asked another question in between, saying, ooh, I have to have one, and yep, I'll have it. That obvious question being, okay, how much is it? And because that didn't come up initially in Steve's response, I hadn't quite figured on how much, how expensive this drum was going to be. Yeah, it was probably a good job that I was in bed and lying down, being horizontal and stuff when I got Steve's email back. Because even then, I mean, I could have backed out of it. That was no problem. But yeah, even the price kind of scared me a little bit. And so this is the single most expensive drum that I've ever bought, and I am still paying for it. Thankfully, I had sponsorship from Santander on this one, and an interest-free credit card, which is allowing me to pay it off. Which is the only way I could have done it. But yeah, the list price on these drums was $7,500. Now I will stress, not that it's anyone's business anyway, but I will stress for the record that I haven't paid that, and I paid significantly less than the cost of the only one which came into Europe as well. And yeah, significantly less than that. So I got lucky, and I'll put my hand up to that, as I have been on several occasions since in the 8 years now that I've been buying stuff from Steve Maxwell. But yes, I didn't pay the list price. The drum itself, it turned up. As I said, probably sort of mid-August or so, And I mean, Steve had actually emailed me about a month before and said, "Oh, your drum's here, fantastic, we'll send it out." And then I got another email back from him saying, "Actually, no, we made a mistake. Yours isn't here yet. It hasn't turned up yet." Which is fine by me. I'm not exactly, stuck for snare drums or anything with the Craviotto name on it either, really. So that was cool. But as I said, it did turn up about sort of 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I've had it since then, and I've taken it out the case a few times, but I haven't actually played it yet. I've not even touched it with a stick. So at the point where I do that, I may video myself playing it for the first time, just so you can see any genuine joy or horror or anything else on my face at that point. Anyway, I'm going to pull my sleeves up because I haven't got any gloves in here, and I don't want to get my dirty little mitts on it. So the drum itself is a 14 5.5. It's very, very vintage in its appearance, design and vibe. Despite the fact that I haven't played it, it is still exuding vibe, if that's the right word. This is number 14 of 25. Just see behind the... There you go. You just see behind the arm there, on the strainer, it's there. 10 lug, 10 tube lugs, obviously. It's a hoop. It's not a flanged hoop. It's just a hoop, which I kind of like, actually. I probably should get some more of these hoops, and put them on one or two of the other AK Craviotto drums as well. I know that there are a couple of AK Craviottos knocking around with Adrian's hoops on them, and I really should look into getting some once I've, paid for this thing. But it's 24 karat gold plated, everything, so everything looks like it's plated gold. It is. Got Craviotto wires, Remo heads. Although I'm not quite sure, I don't think there's any difference in the heads, although certainly the hoop there is slightly different to the more regular Remo hoop. So what I will do when I get some more time is I'll change this head out, and then I'll give it a bash. Literally, I'd imagine. You've got an Adrian strainer on here, which works nicely. It's very vintage, that. I've said that before. I've got a couple of these, a couple of drums with Adrian strainer on it, and very simple, very elegant, and it just works very well for this sort of thing. The engraving on it is all by hand. Knowing Adrian's work, well, at least I say it's all by hand. As far as I remember, it's all by hand. Everything else that I've got of Adrian's has been done by hand, so I don't see why this would be any different. And you've got the Craviotto butt plate there, but I kind of like the fact that the snare cord goes through the bottom hoop. I mean, not a fantastically original idea, obviously, because there are plenty of other drums that have been made with that design, but I kind of like that, especially on this. I think it's quite cool, and it works better for me anyway. That works better than having the cut out section of the hoop, or receded part of the hoop anyway. So that's cool. You got an air hole there. Overall, wonderful drum. So I'll spin that round. As I said, despite the fact I haven't played it, there you go. Despite the fact I haven't played it yet, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to actually spend on a drum that I probably won't play that much, and I'll admit that now. But I figured that I think the thinking behind getting this drum was that this is the peak, basically, of the peak of Craviotto snare drum. Certainly at this point, I think had I been able to afford two of the other wooden, or the other two wood snare drums that have been created for the anniversary, I would have got those. Or if I'd have had even half an IQ point, I probably would have bought those and still had change. But clearly I don't have that IQ point, so hey, what are you going to do? But yeah, you know, I got this solely because I thought it would be too cool, something to pass up. It is, I guess, I see the collection as being almost a triangle in terms of the drums that I have that make it up. You've got the sort of more run-of-the-mill maple drums. You've got the odd sort of a cherry one, the bingers. Then you've got the Adrian Kirschler built drums as well. You know, the brass, the copper brass. The original brass series as well, which are still, as far as I'm aware, when they do come up on the odd occasion for resale, they were about they were just under 2,000 quid when they were launched. The last I saw of one going on sale, I think I've seen two. I've seen one for $3,000 and one for £3,000, and they went. So they're just going up in value. I kind of see this as being the top of that triangle in terms of, well, obviously in terms of value, but in terms of what it is, in terms of collectability, in terms of its, I guess if I needed to flog it, I would get my money back. Especially, you know, I can hold on to this for a few years and I could sell it and I think get my money back without probably too much fear of that not being the case. But I'm not buying it to sell it on. That would be a bit silly in my book. But as I said, I see this as being the top of the pyramid, top of the triangle, however you want to put it. And it's a really cool drum. And at the moment, actually, a couple of months ago, or yeah, it was actually a couple of months ago, I actually swapped out the drums. If you've seen the drums that I did have in the display cabinet, which were basically the two timeless timbers, and then the one of each of the metal drums. I had that. I had those in there up until recently. And I swapped them out just for a bit of fun, a bit of change, and I put I've still got the timeless timbers in there, but I've got the some of the wood drums in there now. But when I do swap them back, and I will swap them back probably sooner rather than later, this will go in the centre of the display cabinet and take its pride of place with the rest of them. So in that respect, I actually can't wait. I will do a video of that when it's back up. But yeah, it's kind of the end of this little one. I said it was going to be quite quick. I suppose it's well, yeah, it's quick compared to some of them. Last thing is the case. This is quite a funky case. Nice big thick heavy leather thing. Ironically, it does say Craviotto Drum Company, handcrafted, solid shell, made in USA. I'll leave you to work out which parts of that aren't true. But that's the inside. Rather plush, rather nice. Definitely a step up from the leather drums. Those three up there, the leather drums, the leather drum bags, which I think were probably from the first incarnation of cases stroke bags that Johnny did with his drums, and then they became these things, which are probably more practical, but they ain't half as nice. So there you go. Anyway, you don't buy things for Don't buy the drums for the bags, do you? But anyway, as I said, I'll probably slap a few older photos that I took a while back. They've been up on the Facebook page on here, so you can get a slightly better look. It is an exquisite drum, and I will share my experience of playing it for the first time when I get to do that. Hopefully, it won't be too long, and I'll get around to it sooner rather than later. But for now, thanks a lot. See ya.